Hello Game Boys and Game Girls, I'm the Game Boy Guru and welcome to another pickups video. Had a chance to go out game hunting today and found a few more things than I was expecting, so let's check it out. So first stop was at my usual first stop, Goodwill that is right on the edge of town that I generally always go to, and I got a music CD I'd never heard of, and a couple of games. I got Nicktoons Attack of the Toy Bots for PlayStation 2, and also got Guitar Hero Aerosmith for PS3. I have the PS2 version as well. I do not yet have a PS3 compatible guitar, but I plan on getting one at some point, and so I figured I'd pick this one up for cheap. And not gaming related, but I did get some DVDs, and some of you might like these, so I grabbed Terminator 2. It's kind of not a steel book, but sort of this interesting slipcover edition that has an extended cut and then also the theatrical version. Star Trek Nemesis and Karate Kid 2. So I'm probably going to be watching this tonight while I eat my meal, because for some reason I just never picked this one up on DVD. So glad to finally have that. Okay, that was Goodwill number one. The next place I went to was Pawn Shop. They had nothing there, or at least nothing that I wanted. And I went to another thrift store that I rarely go to, because 95% of the time they either have nothing or they've got games that are busted up, scratched discs, missing manuals, cases are torn to shreds. I don't know. It's a locally owned pawn shop. It's not affiliated with anything, or pawn shop, thrift store. It's not affiliated with anything. So I don't know if it's just that the donations they get are terrible, or if every time I've been in there they've just never had anything good. But this time they did. So I got 3 PlayStation 2 games. I got Sega Sports Tennis, and this is it was a Blockbuster game, as you can see, and so it actually comes in a case that says Blockbuster on the case itself. And I normally only buy complete games, but one thing I found is that the manual for this is actually tucked in behind the outer art. So as soon as I discovered that, I thought, well, I can deal with the rental case since it's complete, and maybe replace the case down the road or what have you. But kind of cool to have that rental copy. I also got Beyond Good and Evil, and I have the Xbox version, so now I just need the GameCube version to complete the set. But cool to find the PS2 version of that finally in surprisingly good shape. The whole thing is very clean. The manual looks like it's barely used. The disc looks good, both front and back. No scratches whatsoever. In fact, it looks like it's been barely used. And then I also got Kessen 2. And I've heard that this is good, but I've never played any games in this series. But anyway, kind of cool to find that one randomly. Also picked up a copy of Spaceballs on DVD. And then I got this Windows 95/98 compatible 100 action arcade games. And most of these are pretty generic. The names don't really mean much, but there are a few that I think are actually real games that they kind of snuck in here, like Carmageddon, Redneck Rampage, Die by the Sword. So there's a handful of what I would call legitimate retail release games, and then some of these things are probably just bad rip-offs of real things. Like PC Bert is Qbert, and there's a screenshot of it on the back of the thing here. Or, really generic things like Shooting Gallery, Space Junkie, Splat, Starfire, or Cubics, which I'm assuming is probably like Kicks. I'd have to double check that. But Bombs and Bugs, Anyway, probably just a lot of clone games, but could be interesting. And I can set up a virtual machine to run some of these and just kind of play around with them, because I have a couple of other games that don't really work on anything past Windows 98 or Windows Millennium that I would like to go back to at some point. So that might be fun to mess with. And again, not gaming related, but interesting. They had this set of 4 audiobooks based on the TV show Alias, and they're supposed to be sort of like a prequel to the TV series. So, big fan of the TV series. I've got all 5 seasons on DVD. So, again, not gaming related, but I thought that'd be kind of interesting to check out, and maybe throw those in the car for a long trip or what have you. So that was the thrift store that I went to that I generally don't, but turned out to be a good decision today. Next stop after that was the usual pawn shop that I get lots of goodies from, and I did get some goodies this time. Greatest Hits version of Juiced for the PlayStation 2. So now I've got Juiced for PS2 and for PSP. Don't know if it had any other systems, but looks like a reasonably good racing game, so we'll check that out. And then I got a stack of PS3 games. Got Defiance, Assassin's Creed 2, so now I'm doubling up with that on the 360 version. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, and just looking up on my shelf here, I've got that for Xbox 360, and I have the Wii version, so it'll be interesting to maybe do some comparisons there. I grabbed Far Cry 2, Test Drive 2 Unlimited, or Test Drive Unlimited 2, I'm assuming. Tom Clancy's Hawks 2, and I've got the original Hawks for the 360, so interesting the disparity there. Killzone 3. I got Soul Calibur 4. As I mentioned in another recent pickups video, I had the Soul Calibur 4 Tekken 6 combo game, and I recently got Tekken 6 standalone, and now I have Soul Calibur 4 standalone. And finally, the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Legendary Edition. And I'm going to hold off until the Switch version comes out later in the year, probably before I actually play Skyrim. But cool to have this nonetheless, because from what I understand, this comes with all the DLC. So, pretty cool, yeah. More than, let's see here. Yeah, includes Dawnguard, Hearthfire, and Dragonborn. So, anyway, check those out. Alright. Next, I stopped at a another game store that I frequent, and I only picked up one thing. Well, I got a comic book there, but I only picked up one game. It's something I've been eyeing for weeks that they've had in the glass case, and this game was featured on the Genesis Gems podcast recently, and since they said it was a good game, I decided to finally pick it up, and that is Mazin Saga or Mazin Saga Mutant Fighter, based somewhat on the Mazinger Z anime series. It's kind of a beat 'em up slash hack and slash kind of game with some different elements to it, and they said it was good, flawed, but really good graphics, I guess, and interesting. So definitely want to give that a try. I got a good deal on it too. Apparently, this game is going for quite a bit of money these days, and this was reasonably priced, so I picked it up. After that, I went over to the other game store that I frequent and picked up a few things. They were having a 50% off sale on PS2 and original Xbox stuff. So I grabbed Midway Arcade Treasures 2. The box is in terrible shape, and I'm probably going to have to give it an alcohol bath. But this is great because it's got Mortal Kombat 2 and 3, Gauntlet 2, Spy Hunter 2, Zybots, Narc, APB, and then a bunch of other games. Total Carnage, Pit Fighter, which is terrible, but hey, it's Pit Fighter. Xenophobe, Arch Rivals, which is great. Primal Rage, Rampage World Tour, Championship Sprint, Hard Driving. Wow. So yeah. No One Lives Forever, which was a PC first-person shooter kind of James Bond with a female protagonist kind of setting. I want to say I've never played these games, but I want to say they were kind of supposed to have been set in the 60s, maybe. So it kind of mirrored that early Sean Connery Bond kind of feel. But far as everything that I've heard and read, the two No One Lives Forever games on PC were well reviewed and well regarded. So kind of curious to check this one out. Random pick is this RTX Red Rock. I know nothing about this game. Looks like a third-person action shoot-'em-up game. Very futuristic, but since it was half off and it was already really inexpensive, I decided to go for it. And my really good find from this store was on the original Xbox, Gauntlet Dark Legacy. And I know in recent years this game has shot up in price quite a bit, and the price tag that's on here is a lot lower than what I've seen it at any other store in the last probably 5 years. And of course, with it being half off, I decided now was the time to grab it. I usually pay very little for PS2 and Xbox games just because I'm a cheapskate. But as much as I've enjoyed Gauntlet Legends on the Dreamcast, I decided I probably should grab this one before I couldn't at a decent price. And last but not least, I did run over to GameStop and grabbed a couple of things. And so I got Metroid Prime Trilogy on the Wii, not the nice Steelbook edition, but just the standard. A little surprised that all three of these games come on a single disc, but I guess that's the way it is. And so with the announcement of Metroid Prime 4 coming out for the Switch potentially as early as next year, I decided now is probably finally time for me to actually play the Metroid Prime games and at least get a feel for the series before I dive headfirst into the Switch version when that comes out. And last but not least, I got, and I'll pull the plastic off of it because it's a brand new game and I wanted to show it off here. And that is Cave Story for the Switch by Nicholas. These guys did the physical release of Binding of Afterbirth, or the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus on the Switch with the manual and the stickers and everything. And this is the same way. There's extra stuff. So there's a little pouch here that says Cave Story on it that comes with a fun little keychain of one of the characters in the game. I don't remember which. I won't pull it out of the plastic quite yet, but that's pretty cool. It does, of course, have a manual very similar to a Game Boy or NES manual, and it's really nice actually. It's full color and many pages. Let me look and see. It's like almost 30 pages. So it's pretty cool to have this in a modern game because most modern games, as most of you probably know, unless you're retro only, don't come with manuals, at least not in a physical form. And there's also a nice little mini CD soundtrack. It's the little, I think it's a 3-inch disc, a lot like similar to a GameCube disc size or the mini CDs that you sometimes get with computer hardware that have the drivers. And so that's pretty cool. I will definitely be ripping that to the computer and throwing that on the iPhone so I can take that to the office and maybe play that or what have you. But pretty cool. And then of course the little Switch game card itself. So very cool to see nice physical releases of this, of something like this. You know, a game like Cave Story's been out for a long time. I want to say it came out on the PC originally, and I think as far back as the original Xbox, there was a version of the game that was kind of cobbled together for that and released as homebrew essentially. But from what I understand, the Switch version is relatively considered to be the best or among the best versions of the game. So definitely looking forward to putting some time into this at some point. Again, once I'm done with Breath of the Wild, because I'm still playing that. So that's all I have to show off today. Hope you guys enjoyed that. What do you think of anything I grabbed here today? Is there anything in particular I should be checking out, such as Cave Story or Metroid Prime? Any fans of Gauntlet Dark Legacy or Gauntlet games in general? Because I kind of grew up playing those a little bit in the arcade, and really good PC port of Gauntlet 2 that I remember playing as a 13 or 14-year-old way back when I started to see PC technology advance beyond CGA graphics and basic PC speaker sound. So had a lot of fun with that. But yeah, thanks for watching, thanks for playing, and game on.